appreciate the moment that we are in. And I have learned very quickly to do what Thelma tells me to do.
Well, also, can you
You
please,
should be doing is fumbling for your phone.
oh, yeah. So if we could please ask everyone to mute those great machines or put them on silent. And we're having a special, we're having a special guest at our church next Sunday. And I'm going to allow our reverend pastor to tell you about that and give all of you a personal invitation. Okay?
So the Bishop of DC is going to be here with us on Sunday. Y'all might have heard of Marian Buddy. She made a bit of a splash in January when she invited the now president to be merciful and grateful at the National Cathedral. And she will be here with us. I talked to her this afternoon.
Oh, now we know.
Yeah. I talked to her this afternoon. She's coming. We're also baptizing an adorable baby. And we have a reception with food and multiple rum cakes, I'm told. So it should be kind of a great day. Very joyful and fun. And if you found yourself thinking, you know, maybe I'll go to church sometime, this would be a good day for it. And there will be so many people there that we won't be able to keep track if we've never seen you before. So you probably won't be hounded after and followed with. And I want to take a moment to thank Thelma for this because you're a force of nature, Thelma, in the best possible way, and you leave behind you this trail of world that is better. And there are very few people in this world that do that. So I am grateful for the opportunity to know you. I have no idea how I ended up lucky enough to be your priest, but I'm glad I did. So thank you.
Two things that you could tell us about our Thurgood Marshall room and your relationship to Bishop Paula Clark, who has spoken at our breast cancer meeting before.
Okay, so upstairs, unfortunately, there's another meeting in it tonight, but upstairs we have a room that is dedicated to Justice Thurgood Marshall, who was a member of this church. He was a very early member of this church and has been very active for a very long time. St. Augustine's pushed him forward and lifted him up for sainthood in the Episcopal Church. We celebrate him every May with a feast day in his honor and a big reception and incredible speakers, and it's amazing. And we are grateful to carry on the work that he started to do here. And Paula. So I'm ordained out of DC. And Paula Clark, Bishop Paula Clark, worked for the bishop, actually Bishop Buddy, and was the one who spearheaded me through the ordination process. And the person in charge of that you get to know really well. So I know Bishop Paula very well, and I'm grateful that she's in my life and one of the people that led to me being here today. Yeah, there's some good shoulders in this room, and yeah, so she's great and wonderful. All of that's wonderful, and Brianna's taking pictures, so I think that we might be ready to eat. So I'm going to do a blessing. Are we ready? All right. Loving God, tonight we gather together and ask for you to surround and uplift all of us and all of those whose lives have been touched by breast cancer. You have told us that when 2 or 3 are gathered together in your name, you will be in the midst of them. And tonight, as you sit in the midst of us, you will see fighters, warriors, survivors, and people who are forever changed by the experiences that brought them to be here. So be with us tonight. Be with us in this city and in this moment that we are in. Quell the unrest. Let your divine justice reign. Let your love be and be felt as the strongest force in this world. May love uplift and surround everyone gathered tonight. May you strengthen and uphold, equip and encourage, and bring an end to this disease that has impacted and changed so many families and lives. Amen.
Ginger, I hope we're recording.
Yes, we are recording.
I was getting ready to say, otherwise I was gonna have to ask her.
I will repeat everyone.
That's Sergio Jimenez, okay? And Mary, I think you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Mary Thomas. I'm a resident of James Creek. And my mom is a breast cancer survivor.
And you have two daughters that have benefited from scholarships.
Oh,
One daughter.
two,
Okay.
yeah, and six from,
So two of her daughters who are doing really great as well are recipients of the Southwest Neighborhood Assembly's education scholarship program. Okay. All right. I'll introduce you. Okay. Thank you again, everyone, for your patience. We have a wonderful program here tonight, just as we do every third Wednesday, but tonight is extra special. And I am pleased to welcome our MC and facilitator that I have been trying to invite for the past 10 years. And it just goes to show, if you fail at something once, twice, 3 times, try again. And so I finally got Maimah Karmo, who is a triple negative breast cancer survivor, and I'll let her tell you about that. And she is the president of Tigerlily Foundation. Tigerlily is one of the most influential, prominent, and outstanding organizations in the nation. And I am proud to be working in collaboration with Maimah and the Tigerlily Foundation. So without stealing any of her thunder, please join me in welcoming Maimah Karmo. Tigerlily Foundation. Oh, we've actually done, you're already free. Okay, we've done the praise. But if you want to say anything,
Okay, well, everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, sorry, it's good evening. It's afternoon someplace, but not here. So I am Maimah Karmo, and first of all, I want to thank Ms. Thelma for having me. I've known her had the pleasure of knowing her for almost, I don't know, God, 18, 19 years. I heard the words, "You have breast cancer" at 32 years old. Found my own tumor at 31. And they told me I couldn't have breast cancer. I was too young to come back in my 40s or 50s. My mom's a nurse, and she had told me the importance of breast exams at 13. So I knew my body enough to know that the lump wasn't normal, hadn't been there before. So I pushed for a biopsy. I pushed for mammography, but they said, "Women your age don't get mammograms, and so we're not going to give it to you." And I'm like, "Well, I want it. I'm going to get it." So I had to push and pay for out of pocket, and it came back clean. And he said, "I told you so. You don't have breast cancer." And I said, "But this lump won't go away. This keeps getting bigger." And so I kept pushing for almost a year for a biopsy. Everybody said I was too young, ACS guidelines, US Preventive Services Task Force guidelines, NCC, and all the guidelines said I was too young, didn't fit the profile. Thank God I pushed for the biopsy. When I got it, the doctor called the next day and told me that indeed I did have breast cancer. Indeed, it was triple negative breast cancer, the most aggressive you can have. And there was no treatment at the time targeting triple negative breast cancer. So although I've done all the right things, I probably would have died, they said, within 5 years because I didn't, have our targeted treatment. So Tigerlily was my gift to God, to other women, to help people understand their breast cancer risk, to understand the importance of knowing your body, and the importance of discussing with your kids and your family members, the risk for women who are like us, who are Black and brown, and the importance of just using your story for a bit bigger thing than yourself. Being told that I could die in 5 years at 32 was very scary. My daughter was 3 years old and I had a full-time job doing government contracting, but God put it in my heart to help other women and girls. And I began doing just that. Much like Thelma, I had no money and I had no resources. I had no training. But I knew I couldn't just live my life not giving back to other people in the community. And I was working a full-time job and I would work and do calls in the afternoon and evening, go out and volunteer, go out and try to raise money. And of course, being a woman who's younger and Black, I got blown off of business. You know, they're bigger organizations than yours and we don't need you, we already got this. But they didn't got this because we were dying at disproportionate rates back then, and we still are today. So Tigerlily really stepped into change and amplify Black women's voices to be ensured that our voices are heard, that we're taken seriously, that we're given platforms, and that we look at the science behind breast cancer and why it treats our bodies differently and why we have different reaction. And getting women in the clinical trials, help them become advocates, to be more empowered. So now we do a lot of work training women to become what we call angel advocates. Black women who we train to go in the community and do work and tell their stories. And then help to change healthcare policy and change how we put out clinical trials. And how we are in the community, listening to women like yourselves and asking what your needs are. You know, your home life, your family, you know, your fears, the challenges, and helping to get your voices heard to create change. Breast cancer free. Thank you so much. And when Thelma was saying, you know, that we're one of the biggest in the nation now, is just, for me, it's a blessing, because when you think about the mustard seed of hope that you have in your life and you just plant that seed and carry it forward, you never know what's going to happen. When I first began, I felt like David against Goliath. Nobody would listen to me. Nobody would hear what I had to say. I'm breast cancer person in the country. Now we're across women's health, not only breast, but women's health and cancers in general. And we have grown globally as well. So faith is powerful and the work you're all doing is powerful. And if you're in treatment, whether you're post-treatment, you have community, you have sisterhood, you have love, you have support. You have Miss Thelma, you have each other, and you have me. And so I'm really honored to be here. I look up to her so much for what she does, being a 3-time survivor. And she's a blessing and a beacon to all of us and an inspiration to many, including myself. So after 10 years, I'm here to MC this. As she said, let's make it happen. So I'm gonna age myself. I can, you know, I have these glasses now. They age me, but I don't care. I still look good. I know we had them prepared before I got here. Sorry, I'm late. I was late. I live out in the Middleburg area, so the traffic was crazy, but I was like, I'm gonna get there. And you know, it's God's will. So first we're gonna have video greetings in tribute to Miss Thelma for her 13th year anniversary. So I'm gonna invite Dr. Onyinye Aliela, MD, to have her tribute be shown or spoken. Is there a video tribute, or is someone speaking?
My name is the video.
Okay.
Okay. Is it a recorded video?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Would you mind running it now?
Just one moment.
Hello from Durham, North Carolina. My name is Onyi Iwala, and on behalf of myself and my family, including my father, Dr. Thelma Iwala, and my mother, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo Iwala, both great friends of Thelma D. Jones, happy 73rd birthday, Aunt Thelma, and happy anniversary to the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund. I feel especially honored to be able to address you all on this 13th anniversary of such a remarkable organization, and to celebrate with you all and celebrate alongside its formidable leader, Thelma Jones. Since 13 is my favorite number, and we're celebrating 13 incredible years of this organization, I wanted to highlight 13's impactful accomplishments in outreach, education, advocacy, and support for breast cancer survivors and others that have happened just in the last couple of years, all orchestrated by the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund, especially in underserved communities. So here it goes. The fund has number 13, hosted monthly support group meetings, reaching participants in 20 US states and 6 countries. Number 12, It has raised awareness on critical topics like triple negative breast cancer, dead breasts, and disparities in care. Number 11, it's hosted expert speakers from institutions like Georgetown Lombardi Cancer Center, GW Cancer Center, and the American Cancer Society. Number 10, it has supported researchers at Georgetown University and Virginia Commonwealth University in community-based research. Number 9, it has supported research on mammography maintenance, cancer genetic services, and peer-led survivor coaching, as well as COVID-19 resources for survivors. Number 8, it has continued the weekly fresh food programs for seniors and the immunocompromised, helping to reduce food insecurity and isolation. Number 7, it has provided healthcare navigation services to help cancer survivors access care while mitigating their financial burden. Number 6, it has received 3 DC City Council proclamations recognizing the broad impact of this fund on the city. Number 5, it participated in Black Philanthropy Month and Men's Mental Health Awareness. Number 4, it has hosted film screenings focusing on health equity. Number 3, it's been featured in over 3 dozen articles in the Southwestern and other publications. Number 2, members of the organization have been interviewed on radio programs like on WHU-CFM and on WPSW. And number 1, Aunt Thelma was honored with President Joseph R. Biden's Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award for over 4,000 hours. I ask you all to join me in applauding the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund and Thelma Jones for such fantastic and inspiring work. As everyone can tell from the extensive list I shared, all of us benefit tremendously from having Thelma D. Jones in this world. All of us have benefited from the folks that Aunt Thelma has raised, trained, and mentored. Why? Because Aunt Thelma cares deeply about building, maintaining, and expanding her community. She recognizes that we humans don't do well in isolation. We are sustained by our personal connections. And when we're in community, we gain the support to do bold and brave things, like support research and programs to improve health equity in breast cancer diagnosis and treatment, to support and improve the lives of those affected by COVID-19, and to provide a friendly space and a fresh meal to those who can access these things easily. I have said this in the past, and I want to shout it from the rooftops again. I commend Thelma D. Jones for her bravery and courage, for shining the spotlight on issues that seem to be under attack in the United States right now. During a time when the ruling powers want us to forsake community and not just forget or look past the most vulnerable in our society, but to actively strip these members of our community of their dignity, during this upside down and inside out time, Thelma D. Jones, my Aunt Thelma, has the grace and the courage and the fortitude to stand for what's right. She continues to highlight critical needs of cancer survivors, their families, and her community at large. Most importantly, she continues to grow this organization, the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund, to meet these needs. So hats off to you, Aunt Thelma. Happy birthday and happy anniversary to the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund.
Thank you. Aunt Thelma, we all adore you and we're very grateful for the work and the service and the commitment you put in the community. Everyone here has been touched by your dedication to this work and this space. It's not easy. There was a lot of work and commitment, but you are serving others. You're doing God's work, and we applaud you and thank you for your tenacity, your courage, your perseverance, your strength, and your love. Happy birthday, and thank you for all that you do for the community. So next, we're going to hear from our guest speaker, who is somebody that I adore, I look up to, I admire, Dr. Vanessa Shepard, who is an interim founding dean at BCU in Richmond, Virginia, School of Public Health. Dr. Shepard will be joining us via Zoom because she's in Richmond, but we're thrilled to have her and so glad to hear her words today. Dr. Shepherd, the floor, well, the virtual floor is all yours.
You're muted.
Thing of Zoom.
How about now?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, all right. So,
Volume.
all right. So good evening, everyone. I wish I was in the space with you.
Oh, we don't have the speaker.
Can you hear me now?
No.
No, wait. Can you hold on, Dr. Shepherd? We're having a bit
Can you hold on, we're having some audio issues.
Uh-huh. We only have that microphone. Can I approach the microphone?
You want to bring it here, right? Bring it to you.
Not here because they have the computer. But can you try to speak?
Hello? Is that better?
Not really.
Not really.
I
No,
can
we
pretend.
have a speaker this time.
We lost you.
Let me try
I'm here.
with my computer.
You may have to get in your car and drive up here real fast.
Okay.
We can hear you online. We just can't hear you they can't hear you in the room.
Okay. Because it seemed earlier we tested it. It seems as if it could hear me. Okay.
He's losing you. You're going in and out.
Okay.
That's better. That's better.
That's better?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The other option, I was going to join by phone, but if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, and well, hello everyone. I have a few slides. I can actually see you, Maimah. It's good to see you. I need to follow up with you about something. But I have a few slides, and tonight I would plan to just talk a little bit about spiritual psychosocial care, and that spiritual health is self-care. And the young man has my slides. I believe he was going to show them.
Okay, one moment, please.
All right. Okay. Hopefully next time, if there's a next time, I can be in person. And you let me know when you get the slides up. And then I will start. And so my research focuses on breast cancer, and it wouldn't be possible without the participation of survivors. It focuses primarily on women after they've been diagnosed with cancer, and it's really has been focused on how do we make sure as much as possible that we act on those things that we know we can do to change, to support women, all women, although my work is focused a lot on women of color, to reduce disparities. And so I see the slides coming up, and I'm all right. And so with that, a lot of the work has focused on what can we do to improve care? What can we do to enhance patient-provider communication, to make sure that women have the tools that they need to be empowered? As we heard when earlier when Maimah said that she had to push, and unfortunately, it still happens in their community where people are told they're too young to have breast cancer. And so I cannot see if the slides are up yet, but we can, if they are, we can go to the next slide, slide 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We have slides
Oh,
too.
okay. And slide 2 is just, again, being thankful to be here. Thank you for the invitation, Ms. Thelma. Happy birthday and congratulations on your organization and the good work that you do. Slide 3, we can go on to the third slide.
Mm-hmm.
And what I see lovely Maimah, I see myself, and I'm just going through with the slides because I actually can't see it. But one of the things that we started to do, and everything that we would collect, and this is the third slide, slide 3, is that we would collect information about spiritual well-being. We would often hear or see things in the community. And I will tell you we would hear or see things that people would say, oh, well, this group, because of their spirituality, they don't seek care. Or because of this, they don't go to care. And so I said, well, while we are looking at these outcomes, and primarily I focused on receipt of chemotherapy, receipt of endocrine therapy, to say, well, let's just collect this information. This is not the primary outcomes. And so what we found was that spiritual health and spiritual care is important. And this is not a religious term per se. It is that emotional aspect, this intangible inner essence that people have. And there is something called negative religious coping, which predicts worse mental health and life satisfaction. And that often occurs when people aren't getting the support that's appropriate from the community. So we can go to slide number 4. So when we talk about this sort of spiritual care in health, when you look across the country at cancer patients, regardless of gender, background, the majority of cancer patients actually want to discuss spiritual issues. Again, this is a time when people are being faced with life or death decisions. Thinking about, what does my life mean? What will happen to my children if something happens to me? And so, unfortunately, though, these conversations tend to not happen. In many instances, when we think about the delivery of cancer care, these questions about your just spiritual health and well-being often don't occur until a different end of the continuum. Perhaps when someone's faced with a recurrence, or news that your prognosis and outlook, you may not do well from the treatment or survive. And so we go to the next slide. So we see that up to 63% of cancer patients report some sort of spiritual distress. And then when we look again so most patients, they want to discuss it with their provider, with someone in their care system. And unfortunately, many of the needs are unmet. And so this slide just shows looking at both the religious community, and this is a survey of patients, and the medical system. And so you see a high unmet need in the medical system. And when you're going through treatment, and we've got survivors in the room, that medical team, they are important, right? Those relationships, those therapeutic relationships are driving your decisions, and your overall well-being, yet a lot of unmet needs. And even, limited support from faith groups. And this is from people who reported also attending and being connected. And so I think we have an opportunity as a community to think about how our faith communities are connecting with survivors, which is why I love that you're in a church tonight, even. Slide number 6. So we talked to men, because a lot of our data, my studies tend to focus on breast cancer patients, and these were rural men. And so what we saw was that rural men in Virginia really relied on their religious beliefs. Many have reported a belief in a higher power. Again, this is across different denomination groups and things of that nature, but just their faith was a central role in how they cope with their treatment and recovery. And I think I heard Maimah say as well, the importance of faith. And so the survivors going through treatment, they credited their relationship with divine support in helping them both to make decisions, but to endure some of the treatments. And these are quotes here from males. And these were men from various racial groups, but all that were from rural areas. We look at slide number 7. We have done a lot of work with breast cancer survivors. I think we've done probably more than 2,000 survivors that have participated in our research in the DC area, in Virginia, and other places. And so this is one of our studies, and these were women that were hormone receptor positive. And we wanted to just see how are they rating their spirituality? Well, 55% reported high levels of spirituality. We saw that Black survivors, Black women, reported much higher ratings of high spirituality compared to their white survivors in our study. And we saw some differences by education levels and no differences by age. So, all right, spirituality is important to most people. In our study of these over almost 600 survivors, so we now look at slide number 8. Well, it did matter because when we examined some psychosocial outcomes, we saw that survivors that reported having higher levels of spirituality reported lower levels of anxiety. People who reported higher levels of spirituality had lower depression scores and also less distress. So this is something that we think it's important to be attuned to these survivors' multiple needs that they may have and making connections in community. When we look at slide number 9, we often see that early slide that said sometimes there can be negative religious coping. That doesn't mean necessarily that negative things are happening in that spiritual community, but there's this tension often that happens in the community that we've noted qualitatively that sometimes faith fails to act. And so this idea of being empowered, having information, being able to push, to know that something's wrong, right? That you know your body is important. We've also seen sometimes where people actually have some fear, but they may say, well, I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z treatment because I'm going to trust another method. And so we want to be sure that we're not fearful that we're masking it as if we're faith. Another factor is that we believe is that spiritual care needs to be better integrated within that care journey. And the community collaboration works. The last thing I'll say is the right testimony is needed. And this is why we work a lot with survivor organizations. Maimah talked about her angel network. We train survivor coaches in some of our research, and it's been important to be connected to groups like Ms. Thelma's group because we want to make sure that people have the right information. It's nothing worse than talking to someone and they say, well, I wouldn't have that treatment if I were you. Or, I know someone and they did this other treatment and it worked for them, but it's not a treatment that's actually being offered in care. We want to be sure people have the right information. So it's slide 10. And so slide 10 here really was the impetus for some of the work that we're doing now. And so pictured here are all African-American women actually that were diagnosed young, at a younger age with breast cancer. And just comparing sort of the first box to the last. And these were all case studies of people in our studies, but also in my life. And so that first person was diagnosed when we were young women and experienced some of the things that Maimah talked about, being too young to have cancer and all types of things. And, her journey was a hard one because we were young. And one of the things that she didn't want to do was have chemotherapy. And the community around her, and this is why I said we're in this together, really supported not having chemotherapy. She had a large tumor. She had triple-negative breast cancer. And unfortunately, that community supported her not having chemotherapy, doing these alternative things. I remember talking to her and really trying to convince her to not go against what she wanted to do, but get the information she needed so she could really be informed. And this was one of the examples of sort of this faith, but the faith in what? Because at the end, when we peeled back, it was fearful. And so that by the time she decided to have treatment, the cancer had spread to her brain. And, I hold like the community at large responsible in that the oncologist said, well, if you're not going to do what I say, I'm paraphrasing here, it's like, then don't come back. But we have this, we have the goal, the mandate to do no harm. And so making sure that people can tell their stories. And sometimes it doesn't come out in just that one or second consultation. Fast forward to the person at the end, really inspired by this initial loss to how can we empower women? And so in 2005, we started working and training survivor coaches in the research context and had a very similar situation with a person who was refusing to have treatment at a her tumor was about 3 centimeters, and some of the same things, and hearing that. And we were able to meet her where she was, right? And that was with the survivor coaches who could share that journey with her. Some of the concerns really were more about the treatment. And again, both of these women are, in fact, all of the women pictured here were women of faith. And so what we found is making sure that we can talk that spiritual care, that spiritual health, that we're connected with community members. And so, no survivor is a number. No survivor is a case. All lives matter. And so what we want to do is help people thrive. And so many times in our studies, we have these big numbers, which we talk about what's statistically significant. And so what's significant for me is that I'm inspired by the stories and the things that I learn. And so the study participant saw her sons graduate. She's doing well now, 9 years later. And for me, that is really led to some of the work that we're doing. We can go to slide 11, and making sure that our community is informed. And this study is still going on here. We've enrolled 200 African American women. We refined what we started in 2005, which is a long time ago, and have been funded for the last 5 years for a larger trial where we have co-created our communication tools for African American women so they can share their whole selves with their medical team, and they can make informed decisions. And so I'll give Ms. Thelma some information about that. But at the end of the day, what we found is that when women are informed, when they have the information they need, when they feel comfortable being an advocate for themselves, and sometimes they need to take someone with them, and they get the care that they want. They get the care that they want, that people do adhere to treatment because people want to thrive. And so this is really the impetus for our work. And slide 12, this is I did a presentation recently with a survivor warrior. As she talked about her scars are not a sign of weakness, they're marks of survival and stories of strength. And so I thank you for your time today. Slide 13 just says we can all do better. And then we is all of us, the researchers, making sure that we listen, making sure that we have humility to learn, and to help translate from the bench, what we see in the bench, to the community, and take from the community to our bench. And so the last slide just says thank you for your time. I'll be happy to take any questions you have.
Thank you for that beautiful presentation. And I have to say, there are two of me this year. The needed yeah, I'm talking about. Yeah, you talked about so many things that were so important, like faith in the journey. You talked about community and why that's important. You talked about sisterhood. A lot of what. And so I just want to ask you all that, have any questions about, what you just heard, or to share your faith journey and how it's impacted your survivorship. Anybody want to share?
Hi, my name is Cara Rockhill, and I'm a two-time breast cancer survivor. And I have to admit, spirituality, praying moms and grandmothers and aunts really helped me through my journey. I still share that with others today. It's your mindset and whatever faith you believe in. If that's your strong arm, and that carries you through. Hold on to that, because it does make a difference in your treatment. I'm having a positive mindset, and so whatever you hold on to, for me, it's just being around the spirituality and that support group that helped my journey to be much easier for me.
Wonderful, thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to share their faith journey and how it's impacted their breast cancer journey?
Long as I'm living.
Huh?
Long as I'm living.
Exactly, she's made that. As long as I'm living, yes, exactly. Or about your sisterhood and supporting through your journey, and how having community helped to uplift you, because people in treatment and need power. Miss Thelma, yes.
I remember when I was first diagnosed with a rare aggressive form of breast cancer, knowing little about it. I just knew I wasn't ready to go. So when I was going through my surgery, I asked the Almighty that if He took me through this, I promised I would give my life to helping others, and not to go through the same thing that I've gone through or that I am going through. And so I'm just happy that that was a prayer that was heard and honored. So now all I have to keep asking is, can you help slow me down some now?
You know, you and I are so similar because when I was diagnosed, that was my first thing was, why is this happening? Not why me, because people go through this who don't deserve, nobody deserves cancer, but what can I do with this? How can I ask God to serve at this time? And my entire family said, you're crazy, you have cancer, you're a single mom, you have no money, you don't have this, and I'm like, but I have God, and I'm still living, so what can I do with whatever I have?
Mhm.
And it's kind of like, I felt like I was like, in the Bible, when, Jesus had like the loaf of bread and then the water, and, how do you break what you have and expand it? I've seen Miss Thelma grow from nothing to where she is today, almost 13 years or more, and diagnosed with cancer 3 times, and still giving.
Mhm.
Just 2 times, we'll leave it at that.
Just one.
One time. One time was mighty and you got over that. But having something happen to you, that's life altering is so challenging. For
Yes.
me, my faith was a huge part of my journey, I think that we think sometimes as Christians that it's gonna be maybe easy if I pray about it, it'll go away, and sometimes things don't go away. But you wonder why maybe God put this in your path. And there are people in this city, there's sisters you have, there's friends you have, there's your daughters who need to hear your voice to be able to have a better outcome in their treatment journey, or be diagnosed earlier, have better clinical trials, and have better medicines.
Mhm.
So as you're navigating your own journey, rely on your community for support, your sister, the support group, but also ask yourself, how can I help somebody else going through this to have a less lonely outcome, a more connected out, support. How can I hold their hand throughout the journey? So for me, every morning I get up and I always say, I literally get up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm alive today. What a blessing I'm alive to see, to hear my heart's beating and I'm breathing. And I ask God, how can I tell me how to serve you in this day? And then I pray and I meditate and I set my intention for the day. Whatever intention that is, to serve God, to be grateful, to whatever that intention might be. I just kind of set it for the day and I get out there and I start doing God's work all day. And Miss Thelma, I know you agree with me on this, but it's a blessing to be able to serve God in all you do all the time. And so I want to thank you all for being here, to giving your sisters that community, because even being here is service to others. You left your home, you got on the bus, you walked, Ubered, whatever you did, took a taxi, but you came here to support your sisters, and that's really powerful. So thank you for all that you're doing to serve each other. So, next on the agenda is, let's see, we're going to have, were there any questions and answers, or questions rather? No more questions? I'm gonna ask Wanda Gardner to get up and share her story. I believe I know Wanda. He's one of our angel advocates, and she's a triple negative breast cancer advocate, and just so glad to have her here. She's also a Tigerlily angel advocate, and she's amazing, and I've seen her story and seen her pictures, and just glad to have her here. So Wanda, come on up, and thank you for being here today, for your survivorship, your courage, and your strength. I love the heat. Right? These are so.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Happy birthday, Thelma, and happy 13th anniversary. As said, my name is Wanda Gardner. I'm 61 years old, and I am soon to be a 12-year breast cancer survivor. Even in my darkest moments, hope remained, a lesson I've carried with me through every chapter of this journey. Cancer is difficult, not just to experience personally, but to also witness in someone you love. I know this deeply. because I've lived through both sides. In 2010, my mother was diagnosed with estrogen-positive breast cancer. She faced her illness with incredible grace and strength. Even in her weakest moment, she was an anchor offering wisdom, laughter, and comfort. When she passed away, I turned to running to cope with my grief. I signed up for my first half marathon and ran in her honor. Just before the race, I had a routine mammogram. I wasn't worried. But then I got called back for more imaging. And soon after, I had a biopsy. 3 out of the 4 biopsy areas were confirmed cancerous. On May 13th, 2013, just 6 months after losing my mother, I heard the words no one wants to hear. You have cancer. It felt surreal. A wave of fear, disbelief, and overwhelming sadness washed over me. I had just buried my mom, and now it was my turn to fight. But even then, hope and resilience found their way through. My breast cancer journey isn't complete without talking about another challenge I faced: alopecia. Right before I was diagnosed, I lost my hair, my eyebrows, my eyelashes. That alone was an emotional roller coaster. To this day, people still ask if I'm in treatment when they see me. The visible reminder of alopecia sometimes overshadows the fact that healing doesn't always look like we expect. But that too became part of my strength. I've learned to accept it as part of me and as part of the proof of what I've endured. One of the hardest parts of my diagnosis was telling my 3 young sons. I didn't know how. They had just lost their grandmother. I wanted them to stay focused on school and have the feeling of normalcy. So my husband stepped in. He sat them down and explained everything. From that day forward, my husband took over appointments, meals, the house, all the emotions in the house. His support was quiet, steady, and unwavering. I couldn't have done it without him. At one point, he had asked me, "Do you know why you survived and others don't?" At that time, I didn't have an answer, but now I do. I survived not just to be with my family, but to be here with you, for others walking through breast cancer, to show that life after diagnosis is not only possible, but it's meaningful. Because I supported my mother, I had a sense of what was coming. I endured 8 rounds of chemotherapy, andamycin and Taxol, and in the end, I had a deep flat mastectomy in October of 2013. Recovery wasn't easy, but in the face of adversity, I turned to movement as a form of healing. A healthy diet and exercise helped to keep recurrence from coming back. I wanted to see my sons grow up. Since then, I have become a passionate athlete. I run 5Ks, 3.1 miles, 10Ks, 6.2 miles, and half marathon, 13.1 miles. I've done triathlons, that's swim, bike, and run. I've done high rocks and DECA fitness races. I'm a member of the Masters track team. I'm a member of the Go Pink DC Dragon Boat row team. I participate in the Senior Olympics. One of my proudest moments was participating in the Penn relays. At 16, I never qualified. At 61, I was not only there, but I was participating in the women's 100-meter dash. The sound of the crowd, the strength in my body, it reminded me I'm still here and I am still strong. Amen. And now I'm in training for my first full marathon, 26.2 miles, November 17th. So be thinking about me. I'll be out there for a couple of hours. And not only that, I'll be participating in the Senior Olympics powerlifting competition in October. My mission is to inspire other survivors and those currently battling breast cancer. Strength, endurance, and vitality are possible during treatment and after. I've shared my journey with the American Cancer Society, at my workplace, at the North Carolina A&T State University alumni events, and I'm honored to share at grocery stores, at track meets, any place anybody's willing to listen to me. And I'm honored to share with the venerable Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund.
All right.
This summer, I had the privilege of serving as a Tigerlily Angel Advocate. I spoke on a panel about the importance of biomarkers in clinical trials. Through the Tigerlily Foundation, I've been helping raise awareness in our communities, especially communities of color, about how personalized treatment options can lead to better outcomes. Advocacy is powerful, and I'm proud to be using my voice to make a difference. For every weight I lift, for every race I run, for every lap I swim is a celebration of life. Cancer may have changed my body, but I've reclaimed it. Fitness has become a declaration of resilience, hope, and power. Many assume that survivors should slow down. I say just the opposite. Get up and move. Movement is life. Advocacy and action go hand in hand. I know many of you here have faced your own battles, but when you share your journeys, we remind each other that we're never alone. Together, we can keep moving forward, no matter what our challenges are ahead. Since then, my 3 young sons have become 3 young men. My oldest is out on his own. My middle son graduated from Hampton University and just recently graduated from Temple University Med School and is practicing anesthesiology in the Bronx, New York. My youngest graduated from Morehouse College. I got Morehouse made. And is currently enrolled at American University Law School. I am so proud of all 3 of my sons, as well as my husband. We're looking forward to retirement in an empty nest. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Wow. That was beautiful. How many of you are like speechless by her story? Oh my God, oh my God. Your resilience, your commitment, and I love that you move your body. You always, because your body is a sign that it's still working for you, right? It's still strong, it's powerful. So I'm just so proud of you, and I hope she inspired you as she inspired me. Can we just give her another hand? Wow. Amazing story. So what's next on the agenda? Next we're gonna have, did you say nothing? Oh my God. Ms. Thelma, you're next up with the ACS Voices study to share more about that.
We have a video next, is that right? Is that a video next?
A video by Alejandro.
Okay, yeah.
Dr. Mendoza, rather.
Thank you. I have a question. How many of you have heard about the American Cancer Society Voices of Black Women? Okay. So you heard about it, you heard about it before you came here. So that's wonderful. And how many of you have never heard about it? And it's okay to be honest, because it lets me know that I have some work to do. Okay. So the American Cancer Society Voices of Black Women study is a study
That's looking at why women like me and many of you are developing diseases and dying of them, like breast cancer, colon cancer, where we know there's an increase in colon cancer incidence in our country and among much younger people. Just as breast cancer is being diagnosed at a younger age, later stage, and a more aggressive type. But the American Cancer Society is doing a study to look at this. And if you're between the ages of 25 and 55, you're eligible to be in the study. Now, if you're like me and you're beyond that age, it doesn't mean you still can't use your voice to share the information about voices of Black women, because we all know a friend, a neighbor, a colleague, a relative, sister, aunt, stepsister, half-sister, college classmates, yes, high school classmates, grandmother, great-grandmothers, remember, but they won't, the grandmothers and great-grandmothers are not eligible for the study, but they are eligible to help spread the word. They're eligible to use their voices to tell maybe their granddaughter or great-granddaughter. And to participate in the study, there is, like with all studies, you sign up for it to get the relevant information. Takes about 30 minutes. And then a couple of times a year, more information is gathered. You will also be confident in knowing that your information is treated with the utmost respect. There is an organization called the IRB that many of you may know about it, the Internal Review Board, and the Institutional Review Board. It is the body of humans like me and you, whose sole purpose is to protect the rights and welfare of people participating in studies like this. Now, the American Cancer Society has a history of doing studies like this. So they're just not new kids on the block, okay? So you can trust them with your information. At any time that you decide that you do not want to continue participating in the study, you can ask, or you can indicate that you no longer want to be a part of the study. So you might ask, and let me just mention, so anyone can participate in the study as long as you have not had any type of cancer, unless it's basal or squamous cell cancer. And you may wonder, well, why should I join this study? It's simple. Your voice has the power to change lives for future generations. So by taking a part in further and ongoing studies, you can become an essential part of a movement that's dedicated to shaping a healthier future for Black women. So each one of you, so I'm passionate about this study. I'm a trained ambassador, so I can tell you more about it. But each one of you have a flyer like this at your table. I would encourage you to familiarize yourself with it. If you have more questions, you can call me, or you can log on to cancer.org or Voices of Black Women. And there's a whole list of
Q&As, and I am sure it will address any question or concern you have. If not, feel free to call me. Are there any questions about voices? Yes.
So I have a daughter, we have a mutation called PAL2, and that's breast cancer, cervical cancer, all the cancer. But she did the genetics and she was diagnosed. So she did a several mastectomies, so she did have the cancer, which she qualified, for that.
I'm sorry, did you say she did or she did not?
Cancer, but we did a prophylactic surgery, we did the breast removal.
Okay, so as long as you have not been diagnosed with any form of cancer except squamous or basal cell cancer, you are eligible. But to confirm that, once you enroll in the study, or if you'd like to call and ask to make sure that, you said it was your daughter, right?
Yes, ma'am.
If your daughter is eligible, feel free to do that. Or if you want to follow up with me and I can help make sure that you get the answer to that. Okay, thanks for asking that. Okay, so thank you. And again, please take this information home, read it, and share it with others in your neighborhood, the various places, the churches. Remember, we talked about the role of spirituality. So use it in being a change maker to promote voices of Black women. Thank you. Yes. I'm sorry. So if you have ovarian cancer, you will not be eligible to participate. You have to be free of all cancers with the exception of squamous and basal cell cancer. Skin cancer. Yeah. These are good questions, and thank you for asking. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thelma. What next? Yeah, leadership is from Dr. Alejandra Mendoza, PhD. Right. Can you cue the video?
Yes, one moment. I just need to mute the microphone to play the sound. Okay.
While Sergio is pulling up the video, if I could just introduce Carolyn Woods, who just came in. And Carolyn has started an organization of walking. And why don't you just quickly help?
Okay. Good evening. Good evening. My name is, like Thelma said, my name is Carolyn Woods, so they call my name is Woodsy. And I'm not sure who has heard of forest bathing here. People think of forest bathing, they think, oh, I put a bathing suit on, I go into the woods with a bathing suit. It's not like that. Forest bathing started in Japan in the 80s. And why forest bathing started in the 80s? Because the Japanese government saw, during the tech boom, they saw that their citizens were having a lot of stress, a lot of autoimmune diseases, cancer, stress, anxiety. So there was a lot of research out there that the trees give off this chemical called phytoncides to heal them in the forest, in the woods. So the Japanese government, this is the 80s, said, well, maybe our citizens of Japan could benefit from the same type of technique, how the trees give off these chemicals. So they started taking people in the woods, do a pre-assessment and a post-assessment of how they felt being in the woods. So it really took off. So it was really big. It's called forest bathing, or in Japanese, they call it Shinrin Yoku. And there's a lot of research out there how forest bathing has helped heal people who are going through cancer. And so I became a coordinating guide 2 years ago with the ANFT, which is located in Prescott, Arizona's ANFT stands for the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy. And so I'm here, thank you, Ms. Thelma, because on October 15th, one of my colleagues who is going through challenges of liver cancer wanted to do a walk. It's not a hike, it's a walk, slow meditative walk in nature among the trees for Black women, specifically Black women. This walk is for Black women. In the future, I will have walks for everyone. Black women going through cancer right now. Now, Ms. Thelma is asking, what about women who are on the side, who are survivors? That is something that I will address in the near future. But right now, our focus is for Black women that are going through cancer treatments right now. So if you know anybody, please contact me. I have flyers to pass out. Anybody interested? Now, the thing is, the catch is, it's in Chantilly, Virginia. So I know it's a little hike. Now, I live here in Southwest. I'm willing to commute 2 ladies who might be interested in going. Now, there is a fee involved, and the fee is $45. And the reason for that is because we're going to a guard called the National Botanic Garden. The National Botanic Garden is a private owned property of over 100 acres, and they charge everybody a fee of $25. So that's the $25 for that. And on top of that, co-organizer felt that I should get a little something, so they tacked on $20. So the whole walk was about an hour and a half. We're going to have journaling, we're going to have prayer and meditation, and if time, you can go and explore the gardens. It's from 11 to 3, October the 15th, and I do have flyers to pass out.
Okay, if you just put and give your number.
Yes, I will. Everything's on the flyer.
Okay.
Everything's on the flyer.
And if anyone else has any questions, please, see Carol.
And I will pass it for five. Thank you, I appreciate it. Let me see the video now.
Hey, happy 13th anniversary from the youngest members of the Thelma D Breast Cancer Fund.
Nice, short, and sweet. Alexandra works closely with me. She is, works at Georgetown University. And we've worked on a number of projects around helping to reduce the disparities among African Americans and Latino women. When I first met her, her first son was being born, and now she just had a second son.
Oh my goodness.
I know. And when you hear me talk about our breast cancer organization has reached 6 different countries, thanks to Alejandra, who logs on often from Spain, and she and her mom from Guatemala. So thank you, Alejandra.
What a blessing. Your voice is reaching people near and far for someone. We're going to discuss the power of advocacy next. We're going to hear Sylvia Towers from Dallas, Texas, who's with the National Consortium of Breast Centers. Sylvia, welcome to the stage.
Thank you so very much. Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so very much. I'm very excited to be able to acknowledge Thelma for her 73rd birthday and the amazing work that she does. She serves as co-chair for our National Advisory Board that's helping to put on our 5th Survivors and Advocate Summit, which will be in Cleveland, Ohio this year. Thelma worked tirelessly with us to coordinate a program that would not only be good for advocates, but would be good for survivors as well. I'm ecstatic about the work that she is doing in Washington, D.C., and how she's impacting people as she was saying on the call, the person right before me, she's impacting people all over the world. She is absolutely amazing. And it's very interesting. Yesterday, I received an email about a project I'm working on for inflammatory breast cancer, and the person's name was Thelma. And I automatically thought that it was coming from Thelma Jones. However, I found out that this was someone different. Her name was Thelma Brown. But as I was thinking about that mix up today, I thought about how unique Thelma is. And I just briefly want to share a piece that I came up with from her name, breaking down every letter in her name. The T being for timeless. She's like a classic song that's cherished and memorized, and her wonder and grace you never forget. The H is heartfelt. You She gives you love and compassion. She shows unconditional love to friends, family, community, and especially to breast cancer survivors. She is elegant. If you've ever seen her in one of her amazing outfits, you notice the spirit and the strength that are exuded by the presence and the elegance that shines in her life. She's lively. There is a level of energy and humor and joy that you see and that she brings every time she enters the room. She's magnificent. She's a woman of strength, character, beauty, inside and out. She's adored. As everyone that has given her well wishes for her birthday and everyone who's talked about the work and the impact that she makes with the Thelma D. Jones Fund, Breast Cancer Fund, it's evident that she is adored by all those that know her, have known her, and that are yet to know her. I just want to say happy 73rd birthday, and may you have many, many more.
That was so beautiful. Thank you for the lovely talk, and Miss Selma, happy birthday, and thanks again for all you do to serve the community. We're so glad to have you with us. Next, we're going to have Miss Selma do some announcements, and then we're going to wrap up.
Happy birthday. Thank you. The announcements were actually printed on the agenda, but because two Xerox machines failed us today, we were unable to print out the agenda. So I am happy that most of us, or all of us, have cell phones. And if you didn't get a copy of it because you're not on my mailing list, please check with me so that you can be added to our mailing list and you can get all of the wonderful information that we share. But I did mention about the upcoming fundraiser on October the 7th, just as a reminder. Our next breast cancer support meeting is Wednesday, October the 15th, and we will celebrate Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I hope all of you will not only come back, but that you will bring someone with you. And yes, it's going to be right here, so we're going to have to add a few more chairs. I am hoping that this distinguished young lady here will be our guest speaker. She's silent.
I'll manifest it over.
Okay. The other announcement is for November, we will have, our focus will be on breast cancer survivors with disabilities and people with disabilities in general. We've done that every November now for about 7 or 8 years. And in December, our meeting will focus on children, the parents of breast cancer survivors, whether they are living or deceased, and where we'll talk about family history and the importance of knowing your family history
and all that goes into that. And then in October, again, it's on the flyer, Miriam Wright McKinney will perform at Bethesda Blues in Maryland. And Miriam will also be performing at our fundraiser along with Cecily. So we're talking about two dynamic voices. And if you have any challenges in trying to relate to what I'm saying, think about Aretha Franklin and Gladys Knight singing together. So that tells you how dynamic they are. And I want to call your attention also to our newsletter editor, Lashana Thomas Walker, who's done a magnificent job with our newsletter. Wanda is featured in the newsletter. I'm featured in it also. And please check out our newsletter. It has a lot of useful information. And let me just ask, what did you think of the food? Okay. That's Chef Brianna Charlton. Thank you. Lovely treat. And her co-worker and her husband.
She's a breast cancer survivor.
Okay, so we will turn it now back over to Maimah. Okay, I was getting ready to say, I know she has to tip out, so she has already left. Now, I want to give Carolyn, because we have to leave by 8:30. I just want to give Carolyn, I'm saying Carolyn, Cameron, 2 minutes to talk about her book, Cancer Knocks at the Door. So if I could just have everybody's attention. Oh, and is that Janelle just walked in? Hi, Janelle. Janelle is a triple negative breast cancer survivor. Janelle and I get first, yes. She's one of our country's digital experts. Okay? Yes.
Good evening, everyone. As I said earlier, my name is Karen Hargrove. I'm a 2-time breast cancer survivor. So imagine, if you will, your life is going well. Job, kids, husband, partner, whatever. And the one day it wasn't. What do you do when cancer knocks at your door? That's how this book, 5 authors, including myself, decided to get together to share our stories, to uplift and encourage someone who's going through that journey of cancer. So here's the book. See me after. You want to hear more about this book. Thank you.
Okay, so this has been a wonderful, absolutely wonderful evening. I hope you have learned something here this evening, that you can not only use it to help yourself, but you can be an advocate and a voice to share that will help someone else. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday, October the 15th, right here at this space. And I understand you want to sing happy birthday to me, so that's what we want to leave 1 minute for. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy
birthday,
birthday.
Happy birthday to you. And many more.
On behalf of the ambassadors, we love you, Thelma.
some grape juice. And you know what, if they say in the South, he or she put their. This whole and everyone gets a gift bag. Oh, the
The raffle.